Hi, I want to show you a really cool technique with resist, and you can see it on this card here on each of these houses. You can see that there is this white background that's popping up and through, and this is a resist technique. It's gorgeous and it looks great when you do it for a full background. So let me show you how. I'm going to start with my piece of cardstock, and for this technique I'm going to use my stamp, and I'm going to use some watermark ink. And I'm going to turn my stamp this way and ink it. And I like doing it this way because then I can see that my stamp has been evenly inked. So I'm going to cover the surface. And I'm going to stamp. And I'm going to use a large piece of paper to do this because I'm just going to trim this away to size that I want it to fit on my project. I'm going to gently push on the stamp to make sure that I have an even image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside and let it dry for a little bit so that that watermark ink gets a chance to dry. But for right now, I'm just going to show you what we're going to do next. We're going to take some ink, and we're going to take a brayer tool, and we're going to put the brayer into the ink, and I'm going to roll it back and forth to load the ink up. And you can see where you stop, you miss some ink, so make sure that you continue to roll the brayer through the ink until you get a nice even coat. And you can see now that I have a spot of even ink, and I'll roll it so you can see. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to roll the ink over the top, and I'm just going to continue to do that, and I'm going to spread the ink around, apply more ink, and I'm going to continue until I cover the entire space of that image. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paper towel, and I'm going to gently rub away some of the ink on the top and evenly distribute the ink. And as this dries, the results will come through, and I want to show you the results. Here you can see how the watermark ink has come through and resisted the ink we've put over the top. Gorgeous background. I want to show you another way to do resist. I'm going to use the same image again, and I'm going to ink it one more time with the watermark ink, making sure I get an even coverage. Again, I'm going to stamp on my cardstock, and I'm not going to worry about size because I will trim it to size later. This time I'm going to heat emboss, so I'm going to use some white embossing powder. And I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to gently sprinkle the embossing powder across and back and forth. And then I'm going to slide the embossing powder down the rest of the image and tap off the excess. Oh, and I missed a spot, so I'm just going to put a little bit more and tap off the excess. I will set this aside and put it back into the bottle after. I'm going to take out my heating tool, and I'm going to heat my embossing powder. And when I heat my embossing powder, right now it looks flat, but as I heat it, it's going to get shiny. I'm also going to make sure that I keep moving my heat tool. Okay, so now my image has been heat embossed, so that's all ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again with my brayer tool and some ink, and I'm going to load up the brayer with ink. I'm going to run the ink over the top, and I'm going to push and try to get that ink down in there. And where I'm trying to get the ink down is I'm trying to get the ink down onto the cardstock that doesn't have the embossing on it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe away the extra ink, and you're left with the resist. And I want to show you a really great example of it here. You can see how beautiful that is. It brings out the white, it brings out the ink, it's a beautiful background. So there you go, you have resist techniques for creating backgrounds for your cards. Have fun creating.